Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a video about what it's really like to be a fashion student, and I'll also have some tips and tricks that I learned over the years and also that my peers also gave me to help you guys in your journey of becoming designers. So let's just get started. So the very first thing, let's get rid of some of these misconceptions of design school. Okay, so in my mind, when I told myself that I was going to go to fashion school for the first time, I was like, okay, so you need to learn how to dress really good because like everyone there is going to be, dressed to the nines, dressed to impress. And I was like, okay, so you need to get a better wardrobe. You need to get your wardrobe up. Also, another thing that I thought fashion school was going to be like, I thought that there's going to be like some really rich, like snotty, like students that are going to be there who think they're going to be the next like Marc Jacobs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, there are, but not as much as you would think. Okay, like, and everyone is friendly enough to share their ideas and their designs. So I feel like a lot of people think that as designers or as fashion students, we just sit around all day, playing with fabric and sketching all day and painting. And although we do some of that, that's not all we do. Being a designer is something that you really need to have a passion for. And yes, this does sound kind of cliche saying a passion for fashion, but if you do not have a passion for this line of work, if you do not have the drive and the willingness to pursue this as your career, then this is really not the place for you. And I'm not telling you that to discourage you. I'm just telling you that as a fellow designer and also as a person who did also feel lazy and slack off in the beginning, and now I'm just sharing some of my tips for you that I've learned along the way. Fashion school is really not rainbows and daisies like like you guys might think. Yes, it is fun, but for the most part it is a lot of hard work, and you're constantly being pushed to your limit, and it's the best and the worst thing. It's the best and the worst thing at the same time. I love it and I hate it. And I feel like if you ask some of my peers or ask anyone in design school and fashion school, they would probably tell you the same thing. It's just, there's just so much to learn and so much to do, and there's so much creativity around you, but it's also a lot of hard work to be that creative all the time for 4 years straight and to really put your best foot forward all the time, because sometimes your best is your best, and to constantly be pushed to the limit like that can be really frustrating and it can break you. So when I'm telling you that you need to have a passion, the drive for this, you really do. You can wear whatever you want for the most part. No one's going to tell you, oh my god, you're wearing sweatpants, you shouldn't be wearing that. Like, no one's going to tell you that. If you want to wear a hoodie, put your hair up in a messy bun and wear sweatpants, you can do that. But I would like to say that at least the school that I go to, there's a lot of people from the industry that come in and out of the building, like at all times, and sometimes they'll come and visit into the classrooms. At least for me personally, I would always like to be presentable no matter what's happening, so that I know that like if we do have people from the industry that come in and they stop in to talk to us or ask us some questions, then I won't be, worrying about my hair or worrying about what I look like, I'm always presentable. So that's one tip I would suggest, is to always be presentable. You're in a place of learning, you come here to learn and to teach others and to be taught. It's a professional setting, so do as if you were already in the working field, I would say. That does not mean that you need to be dressing super like professional, like business suit or anything. It just means be presentable. But I would tell you guys to stay away from big brands, especially if you are going to your portfolio meeting. I would stay away from those big brands because it's cliche. Like, you're in fashion school, so you're gonna wear big designer brands. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're wearing Gucci, that you have a Gucci belt or a Gucci purse. Like, nobody cares. Like, I'm telling you guys this, like, for real. If you go to your meeting wearing Gucci or something like that, they're gonna tell you like, oh, so do you know the story behind Gucci? How did Gucci first start up? Do you know? And if you're standing there and you don't know the background behind whatever brand you're wearing, don't do it. Like, you don't need to be someone that you're not. Another thing that I would suggest that you guys do is brush up on your sewing skills and terminology so that when you do get into your design program, at least for fashion, that you'll be on track and you'll understand whatever they're talking about. Some of the terminologies might be the first time that you heard them. I know for me, there's a couple of things that I learned for the first time while I was there at school. But if you brush up on your sewing skills and you brush up on your terminology, that will help you tremendously when you're doing your sewing projects and your samples. If you do that, you'll breeze through your sewing samples and your sewing assignments easily without any hiccups or anything like that, and you won't have to ask for help as much. So make sure you brush up on your sewing skills. Make sure you can sew a perfect straight line. I thought I had to be master drawer. Like, I thought I had to learn how to draw really, really good. Otherwise, I wouldn't get in. That is a lie. You do not need to know how to draw like that. You don't need to you don't need to know how to do that. As long as you can convey your ideas clearly and effectively to other people and they understand and you guys are on the same wavelength and you guys understand what the concept is, then that's all that matters. Trust me. It doesn't matter if your drawing looks a little messy or not. As long as they understand what you're going for and you understand what you're going for, then that's all that matters. But I will give you guys a couple tips on what you guys can use. So this is a croquis book. They have little drawings like this on the inside. This is actually what they recommend you use instead of trying to learn how to draw 7-head figure, which is just 7 to 8 figure head drawing. This is what these are. You don't need to learn how to draw one of those from scratch. You can if you want to, and there are drawing classes available that will teach you how to do that, but it is not fundamental for you to know when going into fashion school. The croquis are there to help you, and they're there to help you convey your ideas. So you can just print these out online as well. There are some online. When I didn't have this book, that's what I used. I just went online, printed out a couple of them, and then traced them, and then I used them to draw my fashion drawings. So croquis, or you can use these fashion rulers. They just come in a pouch like this. And they're just little individual rulers like this. So you just use them, you just trace them, use them like regular rulers, and you just trace them, and then that can help you have a perfect base for your fashion drawings. So croquis and fashion rulers are going to be your best friend when it comes to drawing fashion drawings if you do not know how to draw. And even for those who know how to draw and you don't want to spend hours or times sketching out that base, these are very handy. Also, another thing that is very important that I didn't know or that I wasn't doing before going into fashion school is documenting your work and having a process book. So this is a process book or a journal or a sketchbook, whatever you want to call it. The terms are interchangeable, but yeah, so this journal here is filled with my process that I've had over the years for each project. So let me just open it up for you and see what goodies lie inside. I want to show you guys something that's good, something that I'm proud of. Okay, this is a good page. Okay, so in your process book, in your journal, in your sketchbook, you're gonna have things like this. You're just gonna have your process of whatever work you're working on. Also, I have my ideation here. I have some pictures. I have some notes. I have sticky notes that have words on them with fabric underneath. And then I have some sketches here on the other side. So this is what your process book will look like, more or less. And your process book is for you. You need to keep that in mind. Your process book is for you and for you only. Yes, your instructors will take a look at them from here and there, but your process book is for you. So if you like to work in a organized chaos, go right ahead. This is for you. This is for you to look back on and for you to keep. So do whatever you want in here. This here is for you. Personalize it how you want. Do as much as you want or as little as you want, but this is very, very important to keep. a process book or a journal is very important to document each step of a project or sewing that you're doing. It's good to keep track of everything in here, because you might not know how to fix a problem while you're in the motion of doing something. But if you have a process book, you'll be able to see where you went wrong in what step, and then you can go back and just redo that step instead of starting from scratch. So I think process books are really important, and I wish I knew about them before I went into fashion school. Another thing that I wish I knew before going into fashion school was my E's and P's. E's and P's are design elements and principles. So your design elements and principles are key to, I feel like, any designer. It's like a little like guideline to help you create a good design. So your E's and P's, you're gonna want to learn them and brush up on them. I will put a couple links of resources of where you can brush up on your E's and P's, because in the first year, at least for me, I did foundations in design at first, and in foundation design they went through all the E's and P's step by step, every single one, a thorough explanation of each of them, so I have a really good understanding of E's and P's. But for other people, like when I got into my four-year bachelor program, you really just get thrown into your first project. Really, there's no hand holding really. I mean, it's university, so there really isn't any hand holding, but they're not going to explain each E and P to you thoroughly like they did in foundation design. So I feel like brushing up on your E's and P's beforehand is a really good thing to do, just so you have an understanding of them, so that when you go to do your first project, you're not so overwhelmed with learning the E's and P's and starting a new project, you know? And that's, I feel like, something that my peers didn't get a chance to learn, the E's and P's. I have a really good understanding of them, and they do too, but it's just there was more time for me to learn them than there was for them. They didn't have that much time to learn them. So brushing up your E's and P's, I will put some links to where you can find E's and P's down below. Another thing that is really crucial to your success as a designer, I feel like, is learning how to take criticism and building tougher skin. As a designer, you are attached to your work. Your work is you, right? So, and you will be getting critiques here and there whenever you're working on a project or a sewing project. You will be critiqued, and whether good or bad, you need to learn how to separate yourself from your work. It is a really hard thing to do, and I'm still working on that till this day, because as a designer, your work is you. That's your identity, and you put your whole life and tears and soul into that project. And to have someone come and tell you that you can do better, or whatever the case may be, is kind of nerve-wracking, and it can get frustrating at times. But again, like I said, you need to learn how to build tougher skin and not take it to heart, because as a designer, I feel like we are sensitive. This is our work, and we don't want anybody to tell us that it's not good enough or that it's bad, because, you know, like I said, as a designer, you are attached to your work, and working to separate yourself from your work will make you a better designer. And to always remember that they are critiquing your work and not you personally. Okay, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so that is what I wanted to go through. Hopefully this helps you guys understand what it's really like to be a designer. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you, and good luck in your journey.